You were on Squawk Box a few weeks ago talking about reparations, and now this. I mean, you're definitely thinking big. What leads you to the idea that a new party, an independent party, is what's needed?
Well, I've been convinced for a long time that 40 million African Americans who tend to vote as a bloc in one of the two parties limit their leverage in getting action from both parties. And I think it's time that African Americans form an independent party, not be an appendage of one party or ignored by the other party, and using their leverage in a democracy to say we stand for things that are principally focused on the interests of the 40 million African Americans, and not have that diluted by trying to be a part of another party where the interests may diverge and oftentimes do diverge. And it's been a fact that had African American interests been fully embraced by one or two of the dominant parties, we wouldn't have the tremendous social, economic, racial issues that we have now.
So I guess I have two questions. One is, how do you build this from the ground up? I mean, the infrastructure alone would be a huge challenge. Would you stage your own candidates? Would you otherwise endorse Democrats or Republicans? How would this work?
Ultimately, an independent party, and this happens in all multi-party democracies, they run their own candidates in various jurisdictions. They run them on the local level, state level, and obviously at the national level. And because this country sort of operates on an electoral college approach to deciding who is the president of the United States, moving votes from one candidate to another can ultimately determine who is the next president of the United States. All you have to do is look at what happened with Secretary Clinton. The low turnout of African-American votes in key battleground states, it ultimately gave the election to Donald Trump. So African-Americans, because they vote as a bloc, can have that balance of power.
The fact that it is an election year and that to get a new political party off the ground probably would take some time. What are the policies you'd like to see put forward by the candidates right now?
Well, I don't see this happening this year, but I do see the discussion about it hopefully happening this year. As you can see, the Democratic Party is terrified of the notion that Black folks might either vote a protest vote at the top of the ticket or decide to sit this out. That's exemplified by what I think is the most amazing thing that I've ever heard a white Democrat say when Joe Biden said, even if you thinking about not voting for me, you ain't, his words, you ain't Black. That is a horrendous statement, but it also reflects the need for a Black independent party, that someone can be so presumptuous that you have to vote for a Democrat or otherwise you are not identified as Black. That is the principal reason why we need a Black party, independent, to change that kind of behavior so that we're not, as I said, taken for granted by the Democrats and ignored by the Republicans, because the Republicans basically say they'll never vote for us, so why do we want to engage them in a dialogue about what's in the interests of 40 million African Americans?